So I'm delighted to be with you, Suvansh, back again. And so this segment, we'll just discuss what high school students should know who are enthusiastic to study computer science, how the field is evolving, what are the different options of study, and then their preparation for it. So go ahead, tell us a little bit. Being a teaching assistant at Columbia University, I'm sure you have loads of insight on this subject.
Sure. Yeah. I think AI and machine learning are some of the is probably one of the most popular fields among researchers and students right now. It's one of the most actively researched areas, and there are a lot of uh, obviously they have a lot of applications in industry as well. So and there within AI, I would say there are multiple fields like natural language processing and computer vision, which have been advanced by the recent recent advancements in deep learning. So those are some quite interesting fields, especially like if you think about how they can be used um, in like if you have an Alexa or a Google Home at home, you know how speech can how you can just talk to it and get information, and those are some of the things that you can maybe work on if you go into a field like natural language and speech processing. So that's something that I'm quite interested in right now. But in addition to that, there are a lot of fields like so data science is kind of like it uses it definitely involves machine learning and like some fields like NLP. But there's a lot of you need to have a good statistical background as well. So that basically you need to extract insights from data using some programming skills and some statistical insights that you might or statistical instincts that you might have. So that's another you can say most companies are driving their business decisions using data, and data science is uh, definitely very useful for them. um,
So
and
as a preparation for data science, what is it that high school students could do? Of course, maths, statistics, perhaps. What are the other coding
I
skills they could?
Right. I would suggest that most high like to get to start off in computer science in any field, whether that be in this AI/ML or data science, or even in whether it's in UI, UX, or maybe cybersecurity. I think the fundamental thing that everyone should know is programming. Um, so I would recommend all interested high schoolers to start developing coding skills. Uh, and the one of the most popular languages, which is I would say it's almost universal in most fields. It can be used. That is Python. Um, and Python is thankfully it's also not very difficult to learn. It's much easier than some of the older programming languages to learn and to code. So um, I personally, I some of the resources that I used to learn Python were a website called W3 Schools. They have documentation on several programming languages, and Python is one of those. And just using what I learned there to start working on small problems on HackerRank. There are some easy level problems on HackerRank which allow you to work on the small concepts that you learn about Python, and you just start implementing them, and you kind of get an idea of how you should be programming, and you gradually you start improving your programming skills through that.
Great. I think that's a very good introduction to what high school students could do as beginners. As they progress, do you recommend doing group projects, maybe doing participating in more hackathons, even industry-sponsored competitions, or even competitive programming options? So, what did you do as a high school student or in college at Vellore?
So in high school, I actually did take up CS as my fifth course, I think, in 11th and 12th grade. and that's when I learned C++. And you're right. So like I worked on some small projects because I found it quite interesting. I worked on some small projects to recreate games like tic-tac-toe or hangman, and just some things to I mean, they just piqued my interest. I would suggest that's probably one way to do it. Like you just, if there's something that you wanted to do and you think that now that you have this power of programming, you can probably automate this. I would suggest try to do that. Like you'll even if you don't know everything at once, you will probably Google and learn things from Google, and you will try implementing that, and that's how you'll probably grow your skills. And at the same time, you can start building your GitHub portfolio with some of these initial projects. So, and once you head on to college, obviously, you can work with professors, and you can convey your interest in a particular field. They will also be able to guide you towards some resources and how to develop the skills needed. Like, for example, if you're interested in data science, there are some particular packages in Python that you should be familiar with, like pandas and NumPy, which allow you to work well with data. And obviously, there's maybe some intro to statistics and intro to linear algebra courses you can take in college, which will also help you um, further your learning curve in this field. So those are some like tips for beginners to
Sure.
go into these fields.
Great. And in terms of pre-professional opportunities at college or university, in terms of jobs or internships that lead to jobs, what have you seen as a preparation, especially being in Colombia, which is in the middle of all the action in New York City? There are so many opportunities. What do students typically do to grasp or get opportunities for internships and finally apply for jobs?
So I can speak for graduate students on like especially based on my own interview search and internship search and interview preparation. Um, so uh, I think the first round is definitely resume screening. So you want to ensure that what you have on your resume is eye catching, and it's relevant to the job posting that you're applying to. So I think that's something that you spend a lot of time on initially to um, ensure that your skills are reflected properly on the resume. After that, for interview preparation, I think it also depends on the kind of the company that you're applying to, and the actual maybe the type of interview round. There, like, usually there are two types of interviews. There's a technical interview and there's a behavioral or cultural fit interview. Um, so for technical interview, you for a data science internship, you would probably have to brush up on your machine learning skills, statistical skills, statistical knowledge, and uh, the coding is also not competitive coding, but a bit of you can say so they basically want to test the basics of your coding and whether to ensure that you have good programming practices. Um, and lastly, your problem solving skills, like walking through how you solve a particular problem, maybe in data science, or it could be a general problem as well, a business problem. So that's what they try to test you on. In terms of a behavioral interview, they would probably maybe talk to you about experiences in your resume, and uh, uh, how you went about solving those problems and what challenges you faced and how you overcame those challenges, what you learned from that, and that they're basically just trying to like size you up through that.
Mhm. Fantastic. That kind of pretty much covers what I wanted to share with our audience of high school and college students who are looking at pursuing majors in computer science and possibly internships and jobs. Uh, we also have at Edbrand student-led clubs with mentors from some of our past students. We have a computer science club which organizes hackathons, panel discussions, shares resources, or even students figure out how to do projects together. So I'll be sharing that information in the link, and also inviting Suvansh, you to at one of our events, which is a panel, or even give a motivational sort of speech to students who participate in our hackathon events. So look forward to following your journey and having you back at some of our forums. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Arjun. Yeah, thank you.